want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea. I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.
Oh, God, I'm an awful person, really.
This is not going out, you're alright.
Right.
Are you
Console yourself, Tony, lad. Console yourself. Right, we'll sit and eat some nuts.
Are you there? I can hear crisps. You must
You're
be
back?
there, I can hear crisps. Yeah, I'm just trying to get it to not join that network.
I'm eating Nobby's nuts.
Free
What you got?
hotel chocolate. Free hotel chocolate.
I bet it's dark chocolate as well. Do you eat dark chocolate from Mingin?
Green and Black's organic butterscotch, 30% cocoa. Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
might not be
It's
too
milk.
bad.
It's milk, and yes, I do fucking think dark chocolate should be banned and sent to...
Shouldn't it?
Level. Yeah, it's horrible.
Any type of milk chocolate.
Oh, yes, this horrible, nasty... It tastes like a squirrel's just had a shit in my mouth. I think it's...
But then, what about white chocolate? I fucking love white chocolate. It's my favourite.
It's good, but I feel like I've outgrown it. I feel like I should have stopped eating it when I was 18. You know what I mean? As soon as you drink beer, you should stop drinking stop eating white chocolate. Impossible.
I never mentally matured past about 14, so I'm all right. I think I can get away with it.
Welcome to...
Carry on.
Beer crack. Welcome to episode 44 of the Chippy Tea podcast. What is the Chippy Tea podcast? It's your chance to share a conversation that happens weekly. Maybe weekly.
Listen, we've missed three.
Weekly-ish. It happens regularly between me, Tony P from Palm Print, and
Danny D from Flipping Sweet Print Co.
You see, that worked beautifully. So I'm happy now. That's it. I don't care what freezes on this internet connection now. That bit worked, so I'm all right.
That's it. All good. We've got an episode.
Yeah, done. Finished. Right. See you later. Bye. I'll see you.
It's an hour, isn't it?
So it's your chance to catch up with us as we have a bit of a natter about what we've been doing in the previous week to 10 days. We will try and keep it to screen print, but there's absolutely no guarantee. We could wander off on a tangent. We could actually just stick to being really nerdy and talking about screen print and dots and stencil and EOM and squeegee hardness and all that shit, but it probably won't be very entertaining. So we will just continue to ponder and wonder and just generally discourse about what we did this week. So, without further ado, without getting annoyed at the internet connection, what the hell have you been doing for the last 10 days, Daniel?
I've been bloody busy. Last 10 days, I've had a very productive couple of weeks. Doing tons of prints, lots and lots of printing, of which the most recent I shall show you. And fire.
You've got to show and tell. Wow. You're not using it as an excuse to just go for a wee, are you?
Nah. You ready for this? Here is the back.
Your glasses on. Well, that's not very good.
The big reveal. That's nice, isn't it, that?
Tone.
You know what?
Colour on colour.
Yeah. Half tone, colour on colour. Very nice. I think that's a very effective use of a garment colour and artwork. Personally, I like it.
Is there any base under that yellowy colour?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. White base. So it's a white base, a browny. Sorry, white base, yellowy colour, brown, and then highlight white. And obviously, as we all know by now, white base is Aquaflex.
Aquaflex B2 from Magna Colours, who will be sponsoring us shortly.
Why? Why would we bother? We do it for free. We endorse their products for free. What's the point? You might just not give us out.
You might get some free ink.
You never know. I could try if I keep saying nice things about them. I also put myself on my shoulder. Aquaflex white base, Plastisol yellow, Plastisol brown, Plastisol white highlight, which is not always my go-to, but
okay.
it works. I typically treat.
Well, why did you choose that? For ease of use?
Because the design needed it. So John separated it in that way anyway. But if it had come up in conversation, I would have said because the design needed that highlight pop to show some of the sort of the highlights in the sails and the little sunset swirling off into the sea.
So because it's a, let's call it a pastel coloured shirt, even though it's a bit mustardy. Did you have to do white flash white, or were you happy with white flash colour?
Yeah, so white, one hit white, colour, highlight white.
Oh, good.
So it was
simple.
Super simple, really easy to print, really. It's just literally 4 colours, no bother. When you're printing onto light coloured garments, even sim process stuff is a piece of piss in it, really, if we're honest.
Do you know, if I'm honest, printing onto light coloured shirts does take a little bit of extra skill. And I say that with my tongue in my cheek firmly.
All right.
I don't mean it's harder. I mean it needs a little bit more thought. So sometimes people think that, okay, if it's not a white shirt, I'll underbase everything and double hit everything.
Yeah.
And being able to look at a shirt and factor in the shirt colour is actually a skill that actually I don't need base under that brown because it's going to be soft. I don't need to double pull like I would normally. I can replace the top colour with a finer mesh to keep the detail because I'm not after the two extremes, which are power and detail. I can get my detail, and I don't need all that power, so I can start to balance a little bit better. And I think even though you're reducing the amount of shit that you need, I think it takes more skill because somebody somewhere has got to be brave enough to say, no, take out that base white. What? Take out that base white. I know that mustardy yellowy colour is going to be beautiful with one hit.
Yeah. So and John has worked in the base white. Some of the tone, it almost looks like there are 2 tones of yellow, and there isn't. And that's down to John's skill to know. Well, if we put white under this part, it'll bring the colour up. You know.
It's getting better, isn't it?
It's all right, you know, John. It's not bad. That's our second sponsor.
I know, yeah.
Sponsored by
I think he should be sponsoring us, shouldn't he? Because I keep bumping into people from as far away as Australia and Florida and everywhere in between, and they're all using John, and you know he's been really successful. The guys down at Merch Ops are loving using him at minute, and he's doing a really good job on Seps. And you know, you've got some guys in Australia still using him as well. So
he deserves it.
Off to him. He's doing a good job.
He deserves it. He's a wizard. He's
a
fantastic
cut, don't forget.
Separator. I'll take it in kindness and love.
And free seps is what you really wanted to finish that conversation with. I've had my free seps. He did me a set of free seps, and they worked out fantastic.
Oh well, that's all right then.
So yeah, absolutely hats off. He does sponsor us in a way, then, doesn't he?
All right, yeah, I'll take that. We once did a collaboration, me and John, on. We were going to do a feature in Images magazine. You know, our Images magazine, Imaging. Oh, fuck off, Imaging. Images magazine.
Anatomy of a print.
Magazine. Anatomy of a print, and we were going to do. We didn't end up doing it. It sort of bit me in the arse really because what we decided on the graphic we were going to do similar to this print, well not similar, but we were going to utilise the shirt colour, which was a blue shirt, and we were going to do a beer bottle. So it was a photorealistic beer bottle, and on that beer bottle, so John already had the artwork for that, and I was in charge of getting a pretend flipping sweet real ale logo made. and we were going to Photoshop it together, and we were going to do this shirt where the shirt colour, it looked like you'd see the beer bottle, like it looked like glass. Anyway, I got this design done. Paid about 250 quid for this artwork. Flipping rubbish. It was terrible. And anyway, we just dragged it on, and we didn't end up doing it because it looked crap. And poor, is it not Sarah? Some from him, Rachel from Images magazine.
Yeah. Massive shout out to Rachel from Images, who I work quite closely with, and she's so hardworking at getting people to ask questions and getting content for us. And I actually think she does a fantastic job. So big shout out to Rachel.
I can vouch for that because it took some convincing to get me to contribute on a few occasions, many emails. So I can vouch to that.
She's definitely patient. Yeah.
But so this print, I'll be honest, I sort of treat it a little bit like a CMYK print. Okay. So all 90s, identical squeegee blades, in terms of like diameter and etc. etc. One hit, each colour, and it just looked perfect.
Yeah, because we've got to remember that when he separates the channels, he gives them all the same value.
Yeah.
So we've got to try and replicate that when we're printing, and not increase the strength value of the channel when we're printing, which we can do quite easily with upping or downing the mesh and a different blade, different angle, different pressure, different speed. All these things can actually take the slider in the channel and move it over to.
Yeah. So you sort of real life adjusting that Photoshop channel, I guess, changing the curves on it. Yeah, that's So he does. So he. I mean, I'm sure there are occasions where John might power up a layer on purpose.
Yeah. He uses his skill. He understands the strength of the ink.
His judgment.
But it is a judgment thing. But he understands the strength of the ink, and if you give the more control you give John, the better is the result of the print. And I'm guilty of not giving John enough control because I believe I know what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Is he sort of if I want to rip it at this this frequency with this shape dot in this angle because I think I know better. And the last time I gave him full control, it came out better than I thought it would. So hats off to him.
I think 90% of the time I let John tell me what to do. There are some occasions where, going back to the white and the highlight white, where using Aquaflex, I might be a little bit naughty and say, you know what, John, we can get away with just flash printing this base. So, and I might do that on occasion, every now and again.
Top line,
yeah, and obviously John will always, that would not be his go-to solution, but I just, every now and again.
No, but typically auto production as well, don't forget.
Yeah. But that's a good. That's why your SEP guy wants to have been part of the print industry, wants to have been a printer at some point, because they can take that real life experience and apply it to the separations and
100%. If they don't understand what value, what strength a certain brand of ink has, then they're just guessing. And when they guess, you can only get it wrong. And knowing that Rutland has a different colour value than Wilflex, which have a different colour value than Sericol, is, it's the fine tuning. But boy, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. So that's Magnet, John, and Images magazine. Are there any more sponsors we need to shout out before we start the episode?
Chris at Screen Machines popped up again today to save my ass. So, yeah, if we're going to go for it, then John, Images,
100%.
Magna, and Chris at Screen Machine are absolute heroes. And a couple of people have contacted me saying they've started using Chris at Screen Machine and he's doing really well. Absolutely. If we're not getting paid for it, we can say what the hell we like, can't we?
Do you know what, though? We're both as what's the word? Honest, and we won't bullshit you. If we genuinely believe in a product, we'll tell you. If we think it's shit, we'll also tell you.
Yeah,
Whether
there's nothing worse, is there, than getting paid to say something's good.
that you don't like. No way.
But you have to say it just because you're getting paid for it. Yeah.
One wouldn't dream of it. I'd sooner just not
Shit in
get
your hands
paid.
and clap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Funny man. Best screens in game, as in my experience anyway, so far that I have come across, and I have no reason to ever change, to be honest. So I'm sure it'll probably stay that way. So what you been doing then, Tony lad? Where you been? Let's start with where
What
we
have
last
I
week,
been
because
doing?
you had hell of an adventure. Feel like you ought to have done a travel vlog.
I do travel a lot. Don't I was in Guatemala.
Guatemala.
No, you got to say it differently. You got to take the G off.
Or is it a D?
Make it a W. And
Guadalajara.
change the T to a D.
Guadalajara. Wagamamas.
Yeah, Wagamamas. That's exactly that all week.
Hey, that's a Spice Girls song, wasn't it? Something?
No, Guatemala. Proper different week for me. The full story of this came around 2 years ago. So this whole story started 2 years ago. Can I hear somebody reversing there, or was it really me?
Oh yeah, it's someone outside.
Oh.
Crackhead alley. Dealer's just turned up.
Yeah. Drugs.
Away drugs, quick.
This whole story started 2 years ago. Guatemala is not the biggest place in South America or Central America for screen print, but it's relatively big. About 18 million people, lots of work knocking around, and there's an annual show, which is not like a Long Beach or a printwear and promotion. It's quite a small show, so taking a print machine is quite unusual, and there was an arrangement to take a print machine last year to this show, which, well, for want of a better word, fell through. Just didn't happen.
All right.
So it was a bit of a disappointment. We wanted to get as much exposure out there as possible, and it just didn't happen. So I thought nothing of it. And as this show's come around this year, which is May again, it's sort of like, right, okay, let's make sure this happens. Let's get everything ready beforehand. Let's get everything planned in January. Let's get all the artwork done. Let's get all the screens done. Let's get the spider set up. And we worked really hard to get a press over there and set up in what is a relatively small show. When you go to shows, there are two basic types. You've got your big all singing, all dancing Vespa with sort of like chorus girls and music and dancing and everything. And then you've got your little, what we call DAX, which is decorated apparel show, or your tabletop shows, which people
DAX is in America, isn't it?
Yeah, so people turn up with a they book a small sort of like 2 meter by 2 meter space with a table, loads of flyers, and sort of like people walk by. What do you do? I make t-shirts. Oh, I have a leaflet. What do you do? I make screens. I have a leaflet. What do you do? I make machines. I have a leaflet. You know, those sort of shows. And this show that I went to in Guatemala was very similar to one of those kind of shows.
Right.
So to take a machine was a bit overkill, really. It's a bit sledgehammer to crash a walnut. It was a bit, you know, do we really need to take a machine? Can we not just tell people we sell the machines? And as it turned out,
quite effective.
Very. Yeah.
This is what I mean.
I have to admit, it was very effective, very successful, very impressive.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was going to be because, like I say, the size of the show dictated it should be in a small show, which you wouldn't normally take a full-size press. And we took a 12-14 press. In fact, we took a 14-16 press. Fucking huge thing.
All right, yeah. Big old
like
fire.
5.5 meters in diameter. All singing, all dancing. We took a spider. We took a mobile flash, a moving flash. We took everything. In fact, we took as much as we possibly could. We couldn't get a dryer in.
I'm about to say it didn't take a very good drive, though, did you?
I'm not sure. Did you see it?
I saw it, eh? Couldn't warm my socks up on that bastard.
Did it make you feel good about your little...
It actually did, yeah.
bias?
I felt a little bit better about myself.
So we actually had a flash on the last station, and the flash on the last station was giving us a half cure, and then right at the end they went down a little bit.
Run it for a bit longer.
Around about 1.5 inches long.
Yeah.
It was at least this big.
Listen, it's like I've always said, it's not the size of your dryer, it's how you use it.
It's the temperature of your plate. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it was different. And if you'd have said to me right at the very beginning, I'm involved in a lot of shows. People, we do a lot of work on these exhibitions. They don't just happen overnight. There's a lot of work done. And I'm currently planning for the ITMA and all those shows. And if you'd have said to me then, that, okay, Tony, I'll tell you what we're going to take. We're going to take a full list of equipment, and right at the end was the little buddy dryer. I'd have said, I'm not going. What do you mean?
Yeah, did you not know about this then?
All that way to do all that work on 100 grams worth of material and show the all singing, all dancing ability to take a screen out, put a screen in, to set up in under a minute per screen, get it all running, and then to try and dry it down a fucking little buddy. I'd be like,
yeah,
nah, absolutely not. But hands down, it worked really well.
You made it work. It worked really well, or you made it work?
I'm going to go with it worked really well. It did work really well. We didn't let anybody take a shirt until it had been through the little buddy.
Yeah.
Everything was coming off lovely. We didn't have that many shirts. So
you can't have been printing
showing Long Beach
full pelt.
And the sort of like the big green. So the big companies, M&R at Long Beach took 4 dryers. Rock had 6 dryers. So they had extra dryers. We went and we had 1 dryer, but 1 machine.
Yeah.
And so this sort of planning is really important. And if you were, so I think it was Rock at Long Beach took something like 8,000 hoodies to print and give away.
God.
Don't bear in mind, right, these presses can print 1,000 prints an hour.
Yeah,
so
it's only 8 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, 8 hours. It's not long, So, all right, let's say 8 hours non-stop without a wee. Let's say we want a wee, we want a cup of coffee, we want a taco, we want to sit down and do note for half an hour, and we want to chat shit for a bit. Let's half it then. Let's just do 4,000 in the day.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of shirts to 1 give away, 2 print, and 3 store and move.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's a lot.
So you've still got to store them, especially hoodies and stuff. So I would say an average of shirts to take to one of these exhibitions where you're giving the shirts away free. We don't pay for the shirts. The manufacturer gives them for free. But
good bit of sponsorship, isn't it?
Well, obviously.
We should probably learn from that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should learn from that, shouldn't we? Yeah. Marketing is good. So, yeah. So what happens is you've almost got an unlimited amount of shirts to print. Okay, how many do you want to do? And there's this magic number. Well, I can do 4,000 still on my head. I've got 2 people helping me all day long. If we just print and print and print and don't do anything, I can print 4,000. Right, let's half that to 2,000. So go half speed, do some changeovers, do some pissing about, do some showboating, go like this.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
Make it look good. And then...
I was just hoping your chair would go.
Well, 2,000's a lot. 2,000's a lot. So, hang on. I reckon if you took 1,000 shirts a day to print to show off, then that's about making the machine work as much as you possibly can so that, we're there to sell machines, not we're there to sell anything else.
Yeah.
Well, a 4-day show, that's 4,000 shirts. You've got to store them, you've got to sort them, you've got to print them, pack them. There's a lot of hassle involved. this 3-day show that we did in Guatemala.
Guatemala.
This 3-day show, we had, I think, about 210 shirts.
Really?
For
Wow.
3 days.
Wow. So you took a machine for that?
Where are all the shirts? There, in that box.
Yeah.
And where else? Oh, sorry, there's a bag there as well. Is that it? Okay, we better slow this fucker down.
I want to say, how many shirts were you doing an hour?
Slowing
2.
things down, printing. I couldn't. At one point, I had the machine running at $3.50 an hour, just me on my own. That's me putting on, me taking off, and me catching off the end of the little buddy, and me fielding questions. I'm like, "Oh, that's good. What does that do?"
Yeah.
Only in Spanish.
No
habla español.
That were good. We probably shouldn't just say it. We probably shouldn't imitate. That's borderline.
No, it's not. It's my Yorkshire version of Spanish is the most difficult to understand in the world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was. There were some challenges involved, but we got through it. It was a good show. I think we made the machine sing and dance. Did a 10-colour astronaut job, which was good. Didn't bring
I saw that.
Sorry, I'll have a show and tell somewhere. But I didn't.
It's okay. That's okay.
Then swapped it for a 7-colour. What was the 7-colour? Oh, the eagle. Swapped it for a 7-colour eagle. That worked out quite nice. And yeah, did some good prints.
So, would you say that the reception and the appreciation of the machine was better there in an area where they probably? I'm just assuming there's not so much automation in Guadalajara. Is that? I mean, that might be a. That was actually a really good accent. I'll have you know.
Awesome.
That was very accurate.
That was nowhere near as offensive as my Spanish accent.
I nailed that.
No. So there's a lot of fashion printers based down there. Obviously, you get fashion printers where the labour is not as expensive as it is in Central Europe and Northern America. So you get a lot of fashion printers. And the big fashion printers are using the fully automatic machinery, but they're still not quite embraced the full features. So they're using M&Rs and Sandrock. It's still called Sandrock over there.
Sandrock?
It's rock, basically.
Yeah. Just not green. They've just not painted it yet.
Sandrocky was they're still green, but it's the Portuguese name. And so they're using those big ovals, and they're taking a long time to set them up, and they're using their skill to get them to the point where they're running, which is great. And the same with the M&R. They're using their skills to get them up and running because they just don't. They're not made aware of the whole spider central reg, pre-reg, so they can just throw a job in and it being reg in like 8 minutes on an 8-colour job. It's just they've never seen it before, so they're quite happy setting a machine up in an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Why do you think we only see oval presses, or mainly always only see oval presses in certain countries?
Do you know? It's a really good question, Danny. I don't really have a good answer.
Do you think because the entry to screen print and there's just a massive gap where there's like no in between, like in the UK, in America, and certain countries, you can get yourself a tabletop, then you get yourself a proper manual carousel, then you get a small auto, etc. Whereas you're either in a, where the entry point is a little tabletop, and then it's just too much of a jump to get. And then the people with all the, the industry leaders, they have the big autos, but there's no like building blocks.
I've had this sort of
opportunities.
Discussion
I'm saying
a few times. If we apply cold hard logic, the oval is not the best machine. The circular The Spanish language has a fantastic name for these circular machines. They're called a pulper.
Pulper, right?
Pulper. Now, if you look up the Spanish translation of pulper, it means octopus.
All right, yeah, that makes sense.
So they call all the machines like an octopus, which I think is
cool.
It's a great way of describing.
I like it.
So I started printing 87, and everything was oval. There wasn't a circular machine; it didn't exist.
Yeah.
So everything was oval. We had two distinct types. You had the precision Versa oval, which was hydraulic, 8 holders for screens at one side, 8 empty stations at the other, and it went round a corner.
Yeah.
So you had 8 empty stations. Obviously, one of them you'd take off. That left you 7 to load on.
Yeah.
So you could have 2 loaders, 3 loaders. We would print long children's nightdress panels, and you would step into the press, load it over 2 or 3 prints, so you'd walk with it as it moved, and then step out, come back to the front, load, and you'd have, let's say it took 6 seconds to do a print, but your loading took 18 seconds. Well, you could move 3 stations while you printed, then come back out, load 3 stations, and there'd be 2 or 3 of you doing this constant dance. And right at the end for protection would be a pressure pad to make sure you didn't get squeegee rash on your way around, to make sure the machine didn't eat you. There was a pressure pad, and if your foot touched the pressure pad, it was emergency stop. So they were the original machines. And then we changed to a belt-driven machine, and with gaps either side. So we'd have, let's say we had, let's say we had an 18-station machine. We'd have 9 at one side, 9 at the other. Of the 9 at one side, we'd have 5 print, 3 flash, 1 open. Then at this side, you'd have 5, 3, and 1. And that 1 open will be to load, and the 1 open will be to take off, or to turn over to dry the other side, because some of the machines print both sides. The original sort of like socks and tights machines that we used to print socks and tights with, we'd print one side, and then it'd go around, and then we'd flip over,
I know what you're saying,
dry the other side with hot air dryer, not with a flash dryer, with hot air dryer.
Yeah.
And these machines were huge, but now we've taken the point, so we've only got 1 takeoff point, one loading point. And then, we go through the whole revolution of SIAS multiplers. Then we go to Elexon and all these other machines that were all oval-based, programmable, but took shitloads of space up. And then the American A&M, M&A,
was it M&M?
Arrow print. These came up with these circular machines that look like spiders. You were like, what's that? That's awesome.
Arrow print,
And the Arrow print and multi-printer would come along, and you'd be like, oh, this doesn't take up 9 meters either way. This goes in a nice circle. This is a much better use of space, but we've only got 2 open spaces now, two parts of the pie that are open. One to take off, one to load on. So we've lost the ability of multiple loaders.
So that could play into this. Maybe is a reason. My original sort of thought listening to that was, well, is it a case of the technology just hasn't quite caught up yet? But then I also thought, let's not forget, the areas where you're talking about, the labour is very, very cheap.
Yeah.
So you might want a press where you can get 3 or 4, loaders. 5 people around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's the reasoning for it.
Yeah. So that could answer your question as to why you see so many ovals in the lower pay sectors.
Certain demographics.
Certain demographics, yeah. So when you come to the different ones, the different sort of areas like England and Europe and North America, where the cost of labour is higher, then we've gone from 5 to 6 people on a press to 3 minimum.
Yeah.
One on, one off, one QC.
Yeah, but even now we're heading in direction of one. Like manufacturers are building one-man autos now. I mean, we know the Rock.
The Anatol's at 910. The Rock is at
Yeah.
910.
Yeah.
And the sort of quantity of work that we're doing is so low that it's not really viable to throw 3 people at it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
I work at a place. In fact, it's the guy that's just rung me while we're on the phone, and I work there, and he's looking for alternatives to upgrade his presses, and his average quantity is like 38.
This is what I'm saying.
Single or 2 colour print.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really justify putting 3 people on each press.
So
You can't really make it pay because it's not running more than it's running. So those 30 pieces, they take about 4 minutes. The setup takes about 12.
it depends if your screen room can keep up. If your screen room can keep up and you can get job, just blast them out. I guess then
let's say you solve that problem, which they did. It's the one that you've seen that's invested shitloads of money in the screen room. So they've solved that problem 100%. It's cured. The screen room can fire out many more screens than they can actually use. So now you're faced again. You've moved the problem to the print press.
Yeah.
What happens at the print press? Well, he's got 25 jobs to do today. Each job is 40 pieces. Each job is 2 colours. So it's all about how quickly you can change over and set up. It's not about how fast he prints, because that's the difference between it taking 4 minutes or 5 minutes. But that's nothing.
Yeah. So would you say
if it takes him an hour to set up, or if it takes him 10 minutes to set up, that's where you make more money.
So would you say a single man auto? Let's just say we're talking about similar. I mean, I suppose it doesn't really matter how many colours the press is, because if it's a 2-colour job, 40 pieces, and 1-man operator or 2 or 3-man operator, probably going to the time difference is going to be negligible in the actual printing time between the 2 machines.
It's in the minutes.
Yeah.
So it's all about how. I use this all the time. I got asked to do a study on how quickly we can print a single colour job of high-vis vests, 30 pieces. And
they're a golden ticket, them, aren't they? If you can get them in and out at shop all day.
Well, we bought 25,000 high-vis, and it was like, right, okay, I can get you the work for 25,000 of these single colour prints, but how fast do you think you can print them?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I had a full week of single colour high-vis jobs to do, and each job is 30 pieces exactly, then I've got no palette changeover. All I've got to do is change the ink, but the ink is going to be from my palette, and my palette is limited to 6 colours. So you either have a black print, a navy print, a green print, or a red print. Dead simple. So I could really set one of those squeegees up in every head and just turn each head on and off. I'll top and tail to save screens. I'll set all my screens in exactly the same place so that I have no measuring to do.
Yeah.
I'll reduce all the pressures so I don't have to clean the boards. Now, all of a sudden, I can set one of these jobs up in what was taking an hour. I got down to 9 minutes. So how long did it take me to print the 30? About 4 minutes.
5?
4 minutes.
Yeah.
So 4 minutes and 9 minutes. There was no point me focusing on the 4 minutes to make it any faster, and maybe getting 3.5. Didn't gain anything.
No, you sort of got to
Down to
prioritise.
6, all of a sudden I get an extra job. So it was all about that preparation, that lining up of jobs, that alignment of, so I do all the navy ones first, no cleaning. Do all the black ones next, no cleaning. Do all the red ones next, no cleaning. And telling the customers that, look, all high-vis job orders go out on a Thursday. It's like, what? What if I order on the Wednesday? Well, you'll have to wait a week.
Yeah.
Day, because they all ship out.
So you have a specific day for that job?
Yeah.
Or them sets of jobs. I think that's what it's...
It worked well, to be honest. It did work well. You're buying the high vis for next to nothing because you buy 25,000.
I'm going to say, if you get 25,000, you're paying pennies, aren't you? Surely.
Yeah, and then you print them. and you actually make more money on the blank shirt than you do on the print. But being able to predict that you'll do 4 jobs an hour,
Yeah.
is good. It's great. But if you only have 30 minutes worth of work a day, it won't work. So you have to have the sales as well as the production. So the only way it worked was selling enough product to fill an 8-hour day.
Yeah. All right. To make up for that 4-hour slot.
So if I said to you, right, okay, a band, a weightlifting company that you really like, they have an order for 100 shirts, white print on black cotton, and there are 150 different countries, so the text changes.
Ugh.
Can you do them? You'd be like, 150 times 100, that's 15,000 shirts. If I do 15,000 shirts, how long does it take to do one job? Right, well, if I'm not changing the ink or the squeegees, but I'm just changing the screen, then it's down to how fast I can set up. But if the setup's already done for me, all of a sudden it's a lot faster, a lot easier, and you can start to price it and start to go, actually, this will work really well. Now I know I'm guaranteed 15,000 prints. It's down to how rapidly. We only make money when these squeegees move. Whether you're pulling it or the machine's pulling it, that's the only time you make money. You don't make money when you're looking for the garment, looking for the shirt, looking for the screen, taping something out. Nobody pays you for that.
And you know, it's something that I have to remind myself, you know, sometimes. Especially, I would say this week, I've been very. I mean, I think for me, my situation's changed a little bit because I've had Jasmine, I need to go get another beer and have a wee. So I'll tell my little story and then I'll go have a wee and get a beer.
Okay, I've just found bottle opener built into desk. I'm not leaving ever.
Oh, that's cool. You have to get yourself one of them.
I've been opening bottle on door jam.
Shut it down and then just pop.
It's built into desk. I'm all right. In fact, this might be my perfect work area.
Just move in. No, that chuffing price I won't be doing. What the chuff was I saying? Yeah, so I've had...
Tell a story and go for a week.
I've been... my situation's changed a little bit. I've had Jasmine here for a good year or so. Jade was coming in regularly. I used to have Paul doing my screens and stuff. And I just got on with printing. I printed and I didn't have to... I stood on that press, print after print after print, or went downstairs and sorted screens, and that was it, really. My situation's changed now, where Jade pops in every now and again, but otherwise I'm on my own. So I'm constantly being pulled, and I'm finding myself this past couple of weeks constantly pulled to my laptop, to my emails, or... Do you know what? I ought to change my title. Yeah, I ought to change my title this week on LinkedIn to Firefighter, because I've spent the past couple of weeks doing naught but putting little fires out all around shop. I say all around shop, just, you know, to do with orders or whatever. And I have to remind myself today, because I thought it's been a couple of days where I've not got anywhere near as much printing as I should have. I need to say to myself, and it's funny you brought this up because I said this. I said, if I'm not stood at that press, I'm not making money. It's all right putting out these fires, you've got to do it. Yeah. And it made me think a little bit. Don't get paid for it. You've got to do it. You can't just ignore it. I mean, I had a situation which... I'll tell you what, let's tell the story because it's a bad one. It's not a great story. So I did some shirts. In fact, I showed them on Instagram, and I don't think we will have talked about them. 100% sport polyester tops, running tops, luminous safety yellow, and I got some Magna dye block black, which I've never used before. I've always had the grey dye block, and I thought, well, the black, I could utilise the black as part of the design colour, and cut a screen down. So the print was a black design with some white text. So instead of having grey dye block, black, and then white, I got it down to 2. And actually, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed with the ink. You're listening to it, Reza. Really impressed.
That's another Magna Colours ink.
But anyway, regardless of that, it was all for nothing because, unfortunately, it was for a charity run, and I've got about 30 of these tops, and all it was a CrossFit gym, and the people of this CrossFit gym was wearing these tops to raise awareness for a particular charity, and they were doing this 10k run. I got them printed and out the door, picked up by Parcel Force with a good week to spare. Over a week. It was over a week. And anyway, to try and cut the story a little bit short, Parcel Force properly messed it up. Every single day, the tracking would show us out for delivery, and the customer would be saying, have a coming? And I'm saying, yeah, look, it's showing us out for delivery. And then, of course, it never turned up. Day after day after day. Was on phone. God, I must have been on phone for 6 hours in total over the past week. Tried to sort this situation out. So that's 6 hours not printing. Tried to sort somebody else's. It was Parcel Fast. Fuck off, right now, I tell you now. Sort out somebody else's fuck up, to be honest. But it's sort of, you've got to do it. I couldn't have just ignored it. I mean, what by rights, my terms and conditions are clear. Once the courier's got it, it's sort of out of my hands. I can't control it. I can't do aught about it. But it wouldn't be in my nature to just say to the fella, sorry mate, I'm busy. I can't help you. Look, I've done my job. Forget about it. And of course, as soon as he complained, shouldn't say complain. As soon as he raised the problem with me, straight on phone. Long queues, sat there, twiddling my thumbs, waiting. So anyway, yeah, moral of the story, fuck Parcel Force. And do you know what the worst part about it is? They had a full week to get the shirts, didn't get them. So
they didn't get the shirts, so did you get paid?
I got paid. I get paid up front for everything.
And how do you feel about getting paid for shirts that had no value to the customer?
Bad. I don't feel good about it. And I've honestly stewed over it, even though technically I've done nothing wrong. I've gone above and beyond. I really have gone above and beyond. I didn't need to be on phone till, I think, about 8:30 in the evening. I could have switched off my phone at 5 o'clock and just ignored it. But I didn't. I sat on phone till 8:30 on one at nights. And on the Friday evening, when they'd still not got to them, so the run was on Sunday, I were on the phone to Parcel Force saying, let me come pick them up in the morning. I'll drive to York to the depot and I'll pick them up and I'll deliver them myself. And they promised me they would get back in touch to see if that were possible. And they ignored me. They didn't ring back, messed me about. So I would have gone and picked them up and delivered them, which I wouldn't have. I didn't have to do that. No way I'd have to do it. But that's how much it means to me. That
I think we will, though. We will go, above and beyond, just to make sure that the customer's happy.
Yeah.
But a big corporation like Parcel Fast, they don't care.
Don't give a shit. No, I mean
I've chased the DPD guy round an estate.
So have I recently.
Stopped him and said, "You've got my parcel in the back." No,
yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I
can see it.
Want. I need what you have in the back so I can complete my job so that this guy can get his job. Whether it's blank shirts, black vinyl, blank ink, whatever it is. I've been in the back of a DPD van outside somebody's house while the guy's screaming at me that you're not allowed to do that.
Shit.
It's not my job, and job's worth this and job's worth that. I'm like, I don't care. I'll sign whatever you want. But that's my parcel. It's got my name on it. You said I wasn't in, and I was in, and now I've chased you around the estate. I've got you, and I did it. What did I do it with? Metamark vinyl. Did it with a roll of Metamark
vinyl.
I'm like, this is mine. Well, I can't do that. It's against me. I look, I'll sign whatever you want. I don't care. This is mine. I know it's mine. I've paid for it. I'll take it. Take it to court afterwards if you want. But if I don't do this, somebody's kids in wheelchairs die, and I'm not going to be responsible for that. So
I'm laughing, but that's how it feels.
It's always
You know
that.
what I mean?
It's always
It
the kids
just
in
is.
wheelchairs. But the kids in wheelchairs are going to die if they don't
Of
get
all
the
the
t-shirts.
hundreds of jobs
No.
I have done, exactly. Of all the hundreds of jobs I've done, it happens to go tits up on a charity run for like a pretty, a notable cause for people who are seriously ill. And let's not forget, it's a charity run. They're wearing these luminous green t-shirts. They wanted to raise awareness. And the poor buggers had to run in the typical tops,
In the pants and vest.
I think, yeah, they didn't wear no. Then again, that would probably be more effective. I think the guy. I mean, this brings me on to part 2. I've said all of that. I couldn't tell you how guilty I feel, how sorry, and how much I want to make it up. He didn't say thank you. He didn't at one point ever say to me, "Look, I know it's out of your control, and I really appreciate how above and beyond you're going to try and fix this for me." I mean, he didn't have to say it like that. Just say thank you. So part of me also says, part of me now is also thinking, you bastard.
Understand, he's buying from you.
I know,
And
but
he
still.
doesn't give a fuck about how you get the stuff to him. He's
No.
buying from you. And if you picked a bad courier, it's on you.
Yeah, but come on. I don't know. I'm taking zero blame. I will go out my way to try and make it right as best as I can, but that was nothing to do with me. I did everything I possibly could. I got it out early. And then I flipping got on the phone and offered to do everything I could to get them to him.
What's the resolution? What's the end game? So the customer's not happy. You paid parcel farce?
Oh yeah. Paid them and everything. I even upgraded it. So when it came to Friday, I said, right, get it out on a Saturday delivery.
Can you claim for it?
Yeah, well, can I be asked, to be honest? Because these courier companies,
It's too late now.
They'll make it as hard as possible. They'll make you jump through so many hoops and fill this paperwork and can you show me proof that you know what I mean? And you're just like, can I be asked? They're not daft. They know what they're doing. They make it as difficult as possible.
Is it too late now, though?
What, to complain?
Yeah, to give you any sort of compensation, because it were all about making the event, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I won't go after that anyway. I mean, as far as the customer might want compensation. He might come to me and ask for his money back, or he hasn't done that. He got the t-shirts today. So the run was Sunday. What are we on here now? Wednesday. Unbloody believable. So, do you want to know what my solution is? Or my temporary, my halfway solution?
Hire a driver from Crackhead Alley?
No, I'm going to deliver my stuff myself. So,
but
if
you
it's
local,
local,
because you're at the press.
I am. If it's local, I mean, if it's local, there's a good chance it's off to Hull, or it's off to somewhere along the way. And if that's the case, once a week, a couple of times a week, I drive there anyway. So whilst I'm on my way, I could take them in my van and I could drop them off. So if I just do a delivery to Hull or Whitby or Scarborough or Filey once a week, it's a few hours work, but at least I know they get there.
A 10-minute run, and you're already doing something.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you're driving, you're not printing.
But I'm talking about on a weekend. You know, giving up some more time of my weekend, which I don't often get anyway, but giving up a bit of it to deliver it. Now, I can justify it for a couple of reasons. One, I know it gets there safely, especially if there's a deadline involved. I don't think I'll take that chance as often now. I think I'll just take them.
Can't you just switch courier and find a courier you trust?
Yeah, but it happens with them all, doesn't it? I mean, the only reason I'm using Parcel Fast at the moment is because DPD have screwed me over, and I had the same situation you had, where I ran round town after a driver who said, we missed you. I literally watched you look at me building and think, fuck it, I can't be arsed. Can't find address. So I chased after the bugger and I got it. But that was happening for like a couple of weeks, and I thought, it all goes fine when you've got regular drivers. But when somebody goes on holiday, that's when it screws you. Because chances are they can't be arsed and they don't know the area and they just mess it up.
Yeah, but most drivers, I mean, driving now is such a shit job that you don't get the same driver and over and over and over again.
I mean, I often get the same drivers coming to pick stuff up, but I can't control who delivers it. So it's not too bad for collections or stock I'm receiving. More, 9 times out of 10, if I order something for myself, stock or whatever, I know the driver who's going to deliver it and it's pretty safe. But if he buggers off on holiday and then it's a load of temps, that's when shit hits fan. I can guarantee it.
You're screwed, aren't you?
I think it's one of those. You can't do bugger all about it. It's frustrating. But what can you do? You can't not post stuff. You can't not take deliveries.
No, not really. No.
You can't argue with them because they're too big and they don't give a shit anyway. Yeah. And they make it too difficult for you to argue anyway. So you're sort of just wasting your breath.
You're probably a small account, aren't you? You're not really a big account.
Been nothing to them.
You only do 2 or 3 boxes a day.
Been out to them. Pointless. Anyway, I'm going to go for a wee. I'm going to get my 3rd beer and then we shall continue.
Let's go. You realise that was the best 5 minutes of connection we've ever had, and you spoilt it and ruined it while you went for a piss.
Bloody typical. What do you think of these?
I love them. Are they shiny?
They're good, aren't they? They're real good, nice and shiny.
I wanted shiny.
They're great. They're
Show
real
me,
nice
I
quality.
haven't seen them. Show me.
So that's front. Can you see?
What about the back?
But watch the back. I'm going to move this real slow just because I like the chromographic effect. Ooh. Look at the back. Oops. Cool, that, isn't it?
I designed it.
I like the way you've... It's good. Good bit of graphic work. I like the way you've even incorporated logos into the back. What about these?
Love them.
Chippy Tea.
But I'm not there.
Chippy Tea hand screen printed beer mats.
Beer mats. I'm taking them to America with me. So if you're
I'm going to put some on back.
If you catch up with me in America, you're going to get a beer mat and a sticker.
Yeah. So if anybody would like any beer mats and stickers, just message me. I'll send you
them.
them.
They'll be on your website for sale, won't they?
No, we'll give them away. Come on, we're not that good at this business thing. Let's be honest. I'll just give them away. Thanks to anybody who listens.
Business malarkey is crap, isn't it?
Shite, innit? It's not for me, mate. It's not for me. What are you drinking?
No,
I'm having another Hawkeye. What are you supping?
Same sort of...
King Goblin? Screen Goblin? Oh, King Goblin.
Screen Goblin, yeah. Screen Goblin. The guy, it's King Goblin.
So if anybody really appreciates Tony's input and his outstanding advice and information that he offers up freely on this podcast, DM me. I'll tell you his address and you can send him some King Goblin.
I can be sponsored by beer, no problem.
I know. We'll have to think about it. I'll have to get in touch with some... I've always wanted to print T-shirts for for breweries because they always have fantastic artwork. The artwork's awesome.
I started in with breweries, but we're going back again when I were a lad.
When you were a lad, was it a thing? Because right now it's very trendy, isn't it? Do you know?
When what?
When you were a lad, was it even a thing? Because now it's very trendy, isn't it? There's breweries popping up all over the shop, and it's like...
Oh, we had the big breweries, so we would...
Well, that's what I mean. It's very...
We would do Woodpecker cider. Woodpecker had a design, and it was like just a proper Woodpecker cider in an aeroplane on a white shirt, and the initial run was 85,000. And then it went from 85,000 to 140,000. It's like a 6-colour job that you'd take on, and it just turned into 180,000. Like, Jesus. And this was a buy a beer, get a free T-shirt.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, we might slag off T-shirts, but they're an awesome marketing tool.
Well, yeah.
The perceived value of a free T-shirt is huge. If somebody gives you a free T-shirt, your perceived value is 10 to 15 quid.
Oh, you're buzzing, aren't you?
Quid's like $1, but only a bit bigger.
That's a good question, actually.
Yeah,
I'll ask you that later.
you perceive you got something of high value. But if you break it down, at the time we were giving white T-shirts away with a $6 print. So the perceived value of that T-shirt was probably between £12 and £15. In actual fact, we're buying the shirts for about 80 pence, printing them for about 40, packing them for 10. So the actual value then is only like £1.30, £1.30 all in.
Yeah, but they
So
don't see it as that.
Woodpecker or Bulmers, they've got £1.30 down. All right, let's throw in a full quid for distribution. They've got £2.50 down, £2.50 down, and they give this T-shirt away. The end user has this perceived value of, I got this 15 quid T-shirt and I'm going to wear it to death for the next 15 years.
Yeah, love it, don't I?
So it has a perceived value much higher. I would often pay people in T-shirts for favours. That sounds really bad, but
oh no, well,
come and clear my garden for me. Okay, all right. What will you pay me? Well, I'll either give you 100 quid cash, or you can have 50 T-shirts. I'll have 50 T-shirts.
Yeah, because that's worth more than that to them.
Only cost me 80p, so that's like 40 quid.
Yeah.
So I either give you 40 quid's worth of garments or 100 quid's worth of cash. I'll take the garments.
Good way to ride it off at Taxman as well.
Perceived. We don't do Taxman on this podcast, remember?
Not that I do on it. Not what I'd ever dream of doing anything like that. So I've got to. Actually, it's funny to say that because when I was part C of the conversation, RE marathon T-shirts gate. As a reaction, I'm going to get my van wrapped, stick my logo on it, tidy it up a bit, and drop off my T-shirts. And actually, the first thing I thought of when I came up with that was, I might put a little story out, see if any rappers want to swap some T-shirts. so I totally understand that.
I used to wrap vans. Can I come wrap your van for you?
Yeah. To be fair, I used to wrap vans. Between both of us, we could do it.
I reckon so. Yeah.
You need some space,
absolutely
innit?
No desire to whatsoever, but I can do it.
Yeah, well, I'm saying. I used to work for a sign company. I used to rap, and I used to do all sign vans.
I went on the Roland course. I went on the Roland 3-day course.
The actual
course. To
course.
wrap vehicles.
My employee at the time promised to put me on that, and as often is the case, it was just a false bag of false promises. But I never did it.
I did the full course.
Was it good? Did you enjoy it?
Wrapped lots of vehicles. Had an absolute nightmare.
You're not a fan of that? Didn't enjoy the process?
It's hard work. It's not as
easy.
It is,
isn't it?
Plus, okay, we'll go back because it was, again, when I was a lad. So the vinyl didn't have the honeycomb backing on it.
Right. So you had to line up.
Now the vinyl has the honeycomb backing on. So if you get an air bubble or a trapped air in this new vinyl, you can push it all the way to the edge and it's fine.
All right. So
I'm going back to when the vinyl stuck like shit to a blanket. It was horrible.
Yeah, right. Well, we just use water, don't you? We've had a freeze there, didn't we? You're waiting for me to say something.
We had a small freeze, yeah. You went... And then
I asked you a question and you just blanked me. I know it was.
Because it just went like...
Bloody thing. I forgot what I asked as well now. Yeah, so you weren't a fan of it. But I mean, when you put in the vinyl on, if you're doing the lettering, you can just use soapy water.
Oh, no, you see, I would never use soap.
A spray bottle of water, literally one drop of fairy liquid. Any more?
No fairy liquid. No, we wouldn't use fairy liquid. Fairy liquid cheating. We don't use fairy liquid, just water.
My tutor in that industry was a bit of a bodger, to be fair. So I probably didn't pick up my best habits. Skill dilution at its finest.
Shot. I did a full year working for a graphics company in Leeds, who are still going and are still exceptionally talented. And they taught me shitloads about applying vinyl. I just did not know when I was trying to be self-taught. They used to make letters and make LED, and they're a leader in LED right now.
All right, that's cool.
I did a year with them over in Leeds. And although it was not printing, not T-shirts, and not the sort of work I was really used to. Loved to learn the new skills. Loved it.
Yeah, it's still a creative industry. We're still making something. It's less though, because it's CAD code in it. So
We both know I'm like as creative as a dead dog, so I don't do
Right, I
creative,
guess.
but I loved learning the new skill, laying out the vinyl, introducing a laminator to the whole workflow. Because
Yeah.
they had a laminator and they were just so scared to use it, they never even turned it on. But we would take a piece of 8mm acrylic, 8 foot by 4 foot, run it through a laminator and turn it into red vinyl. And it was just like, oh, we know what we're doing now. It's awesome.
That's interesting, man. So you took on a new job. I'm guessing this is in your when you was a lad, and even back then you were challenging skill dilution and pushing people to use the technology that was available, which otherwise they might have been intrepidatious about using.
Intrepidatious. Wow. Have another beer. Invent another word. This was... Oh, shit. How can I explain this?
Just give us just tell us your age.
I was printing for quite a while and it stopped and I left the place rather unexpectedly. I went to go get but I was instrumental in introducing vinyl printing, vinyl laminating from scratch, but sometimes on hard hats, sometimes on vans, sometimes on all sorts of stuff.
Right.
And so this job came up in a vinyl room technician, which is quite low. And I thought, I'll take it because I've got this interest in cutting vinyl, printing vinyl, applying vinyl. And they taught me shitloads of stuff. They really did. And they're still going now. And they're a really, really nice family place to work for. But it meant that I'd got this completely and utterly new skill set. And when you walk into a place and you're so used to solving problems and putting out fires, like we said earlier, and here is this brand spanking new printer, which I knew a little bit about, but not loads.
Yeah.
But I could work out the rest. And with it, when they bought it, they got a free laminator.
Yeah, you do that often, do
and a hot laminator.
Yeah.
So nobody had these hot laminators before, but I'd actually had one of these really little small hot laminators. So I'm like, okay, why don't we use that? Because we don't know how to turn it on. Well, can I? What do you know about it? Absolutely zero. Nothing at all. Well,
No.
why would we let you loose on it then? Well,
how hard can it be?
Lose? I tell you what, give me 10 meters. Give me 10 meters of red vinyl. We did Eurocar. Eurocar was an 8 foot by 4 foot clear acrylic sheet. They had to completely cover the whole thing in red and then cut out the E by hand.
Right.
So it was
using
because it was backlit, and so the backlit would light the red, and then the bit in the middle with white. It was really, really difficult to do. So I said, well, why don't you just run it through the laminator? Because we were getting bits and lumps.
Yeah.
Because we were 4 of us, one on each corner, shitloads of soapy water, not soapy water. And then try and lay this thing down and squeegee it down before we got any bits of vinyl stuck on it. And we'd always get bits stuck on it.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, why don't we run it through the laminator I'll put red vinyl on the laminator. Can you do that? Yeah. It'll heat it up. It'll make it nice and soft and pliable. We'll run the whole sheet through. I'll put it at the end of this table, and as it comes out, it'll sit on the table. Once it's sat on the table, we'll cut the square out. Job done. And it worked an absolute treat. It really did. But everybody else was like, we don't know what to do with that. We dare touch it. I'm like, let me loose.
Fucking learn it. I like that. That's a testament to your character, and probably a good indicator to why you are where you are and what you do is what you do. Because
let me loose. Let me do it.
Just fucking crack on. I think
next week I'm going to be in Germany. with a guy who listens to the podcast. And
Is
I was
this
speaking to
our
guys
first listener who has had you in?
Could be.
Woohoo! Check you out.
And he's having an auto reg system put in.
Oh, really awesome.
I've been with a guy today, and he said it's not ready.
Oh, shit.
Really?
What system is it?
Spider.
Oh, fuck.
And he's like, it's not ready. Well, yeah, but it'll be ready by the time I'm there, won't it? No, because we're at all at Vespa, so we can't do it. Okay, let me do it. What? Let me do it. Really? Yeah, let me do it. What's worse can happen?
Yeah, I mean, it can either not be ready or be ready. So why not?
Where have I been today, Danny?
I don't know. Somewhere down south?
Down south, yeah. So today has been the install of the freestyler.
Oh, right.
I can't work out whether you've paused in shock or whether you've paused in bad connection.
Let me repeat myself. All right, that's interesting. Please tell me more.
So I don't know whether we're I haven't listened to last week's episode or week before. The freestyler is from Exile. It's an entry-level inkjet printer using pre-reg system.
It's the one before the Spider. Am I right?
Yeah, so price-wise, we're looking at between about 12 grand. Spider being about 45 to 50.
Right,
So
all right, yeah.
A quarter of the price of the top-end Spider.
Yeah.
I tried it and tested it in 2016, and I fucking hated it.
Yeah. I know.
I despised it for lots of levels. First level, clunky, awkward, difficult workflow.
Yeah.
Right click here, left click here, move to here, press here, hold this while you do this, turn around, do a little dance, stand on your hand. And I didn't like it at all. And I got assured that it changed.
It's been improved.
Improved.
Are you happy to?
Freestyler 2.
Would you agree?
Yes.
With a caveat.
Did you notice it was a reluctant yes?
Yeah, I'm waiting for a caveat. What's the but?
No, okay. So, did it change? So, the interface has completely changed. It's much, much, much more like a Spider now.
Mm-hmm.
So, the interface I love. I think it's fantastic. I think we finally solved the problem of right click here, left click here, stand on your left testicle, turn around, spit over your left shoulder. It has simplified no end.
Right.
Does it take too long to print a screen? Yeah, it does.
Have you got a nice standard though? Let's just say if I had that in my shop, I would be chuffed to bits, wouldn't I? I'd be off at moon. Reluctant again. I froze.
How many? It was a freeze, and I was trying to cover it. How many screens a day do you make? This is the key question as to which unit you should pick: 12 grand or 48 grand.
Well, I'm going to fall in that 12 grand range, surely.
So how many screens a day do you think you make?
10 at a push.
Yes,
not
you
even
do
that.
fall into that range.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would be chuffed to bits with that system.
Each screen takes around about. I would say the screen takes start to finish. This is not full printing time. This is start, in, load, print, out. 3 minutes.
Yeah. All right. And you've got a screen done.
When you add up the time to print a film, cut a film, organise a film, line up a film, stick a film down, take a film off, and do all that, then I think you're in front with a freestyler.
Yeah.
Would you gain anything from it? No.
Don't gain accuracy? No, because the DPI is not... Yeah, right, okay.
1200 DPI, so same as your Epson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I would say the only gain is lack file movement.
All right.
Right
Let's
now,
just send
you
it.
have to. If you print a film, what do you do with the film once you've printed it?
I just chuck it in a box, to be honest. And do you know what? I don't often.
Chuck it in a box and keep it, or chuck it in a box and bin it?
I chuck it in a box and keep it, but then never reuse it. So it's not pointless. I used to go out and pick out the films, but they get scratched and they get a bit.
Takes
They get
too
a bit. Yeah, it's a fanny about. I told you just send it to the printer again.
50p. It's 50p to print it again.
And I think that 50p is worth it for avoiding pinholes or little scratches or like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might as well just reprint it.
Yeah, so I agree. Searchability, recall. Let's call it recall.
Yeah.
Recall of a file is well worth it. To type in a box, flipping sweet, print T.
Yeah.
Search. It pops up. You put your screen in, you press print, and that takes 3 minutes. Okay, 3
I like
minutes
that.
is a long time. 60 seconds is the norm for a spider.
Right.
3 minutes is the norm for a freestyler. So you've got to base these two facts against each other.
Yeah.
Everything else is exactly the same. Pre-reg is the same. Recall is the same. File storage is the same. The resolution is actually higher on the freestyler than it is on the spider. It's double.
Really? How interesting. Wonder why.
1200 DPI on the freestyler.
Different technology.
600 on the wax.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. So the cheaper version is more like a desktop printer jet head.
Yeah.
Whereas the freestyler's wax. Right.
Yeah.
How interesting.
So higher resolution, full recall, but physically takes longer to print. So one of the reasons it takes long to print is you put your screen in, you hold it into the pins which hold it onto the machine, and you clamp it. Done, finished. That's your perfect registration. Then the print head comes down, and the head comes down with a laser, and this laser is looking for the screen surface.
Yeah.
So that it can calibrate where the screen surface is.
Right.
So that movement from there to there takes around about 15 seconds. It finds it, and then it adjusts up and down until the laser is perfect.
Yeah.
It then starts to move across. Then it hits a bit of tape that somebody's left on the screen, so it moves up and down, moves up and down, and then it goes. That whole process of looking for the optimal surface distance can take 45 seconds.
So
just looking for the optimal place.
It can take 45 seconds, but what I also heard in that was, as a user, if you take care of your screens, if you make sure your screens are clean and there's no bits of crappy tape on, so the system, okay, that's a little bit of a flaw, but also there's a little bit of responsibility for you as a user to make sure you're putting clean screens in.
Yeah. 100%.
So don't cut corners, Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. If your screens are good, then it will find the surface height and just move straight across. And that 45 seconds can be reduced to 15 if your screens are good.
Yeah. So that's, yes.
Now,
so I think
there, we used to have to right-click the TIFF. No, it wasn't a TIFF. That was the issue. It was a PRN file. The PRN file had all the information on how the printer would react. So how much ink it would put down, how many passes, unidirectional, bidirectional, interweave, microweave. All this information was contained in the print file. The nobbys nuts. The print file was created at RIP stage.
Right.
Well, now that was a horrible place to freeze. Well, now we've got a little bit more control because we're now creating one-bit TIFFs. One-bit TIFFs are created in Illustrator. Illustrator spits them out as one-bit TIFFs, full separations, all good, full location device information. all fantastic. And then at point of print, we can change how much microwave there is. Microwave, what's microwave?
What is microwave? Is that
Head
how?
passes.
What's
So
that? What's that
head
chef
passes
called?
at this-
Delia? Microwave. That's what it is, isn't it?
Microwave. Delia. It's Nigella Lawson.
That's it, Nigella Lawson.
So we either get print passes like that,
Yeah.
which is one after the other, or we get print passes like that where we have a microwave of 1, or
Yeah.
we have a microwave of 2, or we have a
Right.
microwave of 4. So
Right.
all this does is really affect the step in between the overlap. The
Right.
step between the overlap will affect quality and speed.
Right. So you're
So the
sort of
if we only move one finger at a time,
better
then
quality.
it's going to be really slow. If we move 4 fingers at a time on solid opaque vector stuff, nobody's going to notice anything. It's going to move really fast. And
Right.
yeah, I'll take my hat off. I will actually. I'll slag stuff off if it's crap. The freestyler has been improved.
Yeah.
Is it good? No, but it's been improved. Read between that what you like. Is it as good as a Spider, a Dalfit, or a Kiowa CTS? No. But
No.
they're 50
It's a fraction
grand.
of the cost, isn't it? I'm gonna say.
This is a quarter of the cost. So it's all about how many screens a day do you do?
Yeah.
And do you want to use micro reg? So far, this shop drives me insane because we have 2 M&Rs and 1 MHM.
Yeah. So you got different registration
And
systems.
I have to make the system. Okay, do we go M&R system and make the MHM fit, or do we go MHM system and make the M&R fit? And
So that's interesting. You can do that.
I made the choice to go MHM.
So you can run MHM's reg system or vice versa on an M&R. Like you can make do and make it work with a bit of tinkering.
The short answer is no.
Yeah. So you're sort of you're pissing it wind a little bit then.
The reason I chose this path is because at current levels they do not use the tri-lock. So they take a film, print it. They mount the film on the carrier sheets.
Yeah.
They mount the carrier sheets on the tri-lock.
Yeah.
They put the tri-lock mounted film into a tri-lock vise.
Yeah.
They then take this tri-lock mounted screen onto the press and they set it up however the fuck they want. So none of the mounting, none of the carrier, none of the tri-lock made any difference whatsoever because at end use, at press use, the guy thought he was quicker and better than the tri-lock system, which he probably was.
Do you know what? I've said it before, and I'm sure I'll say it again. Bin your fucking carrier sheets. They're fucking shite.
But it takes a lot of time and skill.
Yeah.
This is the place with the old guy. Now, the old guy can mount films, put them on the tri-lock, and then if he takes the screens that he's made, he'll use the tri-lock palette, put it on the press, and set it up like that.
But he's had 96 years to fucking work it out. That's why. Who's got time for that?
Apparently.
Exactly.
So he's really good. My issue is how do I replace him? And this is what the freestyle has done. The freestyle has replaced him. So now I can get the guy who opens the boxes when they get delivered by DPD or Parcel Farce. The guy who opens those boxes, once he's opened them, first hour in the morning, he's got nothing else to do.
So he can go do some
make
screens. Yeah.
How can he make screens? Does he have the skill to line them up? Doesn't need them. All he has to do is poke it into the holes, press the button, press print.
Yeah.
That's all he has to do.
So that, all right, let's be honest, the entry level machine, it's not up to your standards because of, let's be honest, the shops you've been in and operated, up there, whatever, in terms of production and quality. But it does mean all right, it's slow, but there's no downtime, and you can get anybody in to run it. It's like, it's easy and simple to use, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I'm reluctant
So
to
there
say
are pros
yes.
to it.
I'm
trying to be politically correct.
I know, yeah, and I'm trying to say to myself, why am I reluctant to this machine when it is at the end of the day a 12 grand printer?
Yeah.
So why am I reluctant? And it's because the 50 grand printer does so well. It prints in a minute. A minute is a beautiful, lovely unit to get everything sorted. I can expose in a minute. I can develop in a minute. I can print in a minute. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And it takes no input from me. Drag, drop, print. Drag, drop, print. When I trialed the Freestyler in 2016, which is, I think it's 2 years ago, but it's actually like 7 years ago. So when I trialed it, it was really clunky. It was hard to use. You had to understand what you were doing, what you were playing with, and what you were moving. Right now, it's got the very same interface as the Spider. The screen maker, the artist guy who creates the TIFFs, which are digital films.
Yeah.
I thought I would get shitloads of pushback from him. Do you know?
He likes it.
He loves it. Do you know why he loves it? His life just got 10 times easier.
Yeah.
He basically opens Illustrator, presses print. Open Illustrator, press print. Open Illustrator, press print. He's even gone as far as archiving them himself because he's got time.
Yeah.
So it has some bonuses. And the fact that you can probably rent this as an entry level into digital screen making, I think if I had a print shop, right, and I wasn't sure what I was doing, and I rented this in January, by June I'd buy a Spider.
Oh, you don't think so? Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy this unit, but I'd buy a Spider.
It's just a jump, though, isn't it?
And then by November, I'd buy a laser.
From MHM. Which fucking kid do you decide to buy that, like?
3JB.
Yeah. Well, it sounds to me like a machine that will fit in a certain shop, and a certain shop who knows no better might be quite impressed. But I don't know.
Knows no better. That sounds really bad. That.
I know. Well, I'm trying to make it sound better. Don't be trying to sugarcoat it a bit.
So this, my job is to give advice to people. Not to get. I don't get commission from anybody. So my job is to give advice. And my advice to this shop was, look, okay, you're going to struggle when the old guy retires because nobody uses this system from the 1980s anymore. If you discard this system, then you're going to have to build a heck press L shape on the wall.
Yeah.
Which works really well for an M&R.
Yeah.
But you have an NHN in the corner. So it's going to work for basically 60% of your stuff, but 33% of it's not going to work. So how do we go about it? Well, we have to start going digital, obviously. We have to invest in less downtime because the jobs that we're doing have high downtime between them.
Yeah.
So we go digital. Okay, so let's go digital. Let's look at it. Spider, 50 grand. Laser, 90 grand. Well, is that it? Are they my only options? Well, no. Step it down. We've got an Epson 4800 printer. 2 grand.
2 grandish.
I'll do that.
Unless you're Sarah, 300 quid. For fucking 2.
I've got a warehouse full of things. Would you like them for a 2?
She's the main distributor now.
Yeah, I'll take that, yeah.
If anybody would like one, Sarah's now the distributor for Epson.
She can smell a deal a mile away.
She sent me a press over there.
For next to know, anyway.
She might be a bit fuming because it's just gone down a grand. Unless she sweet talked him into a good deal. Because he's got a couple more. I just looked at it on eBay.
Which one?
Don't tell her. The one that Sarah just bought. He's
That's
just
it.
put price down. I think he had 3 in total, and he's just put it down. So he's obviously trying to shift for the last one, try to get rid of the last one. Because I was half tempted to get it myself, to be honest. I know. Well, I'm half tempted to get it.
Buy one.
Right. So let's summarize. Let's summarize because I can move on.
Steps.
No. Let's summarize this by saying, let's be honest. The main issue that you need to tackle in this particular place is
Arena.
you've got an old what? Let me use this word. An old artisan, a bloke who knows his shit, who's been around and he knows how to make screens. Let's just call it that. But he's set in his ways. An old dog who, you can't teach new tricks. You don't want to piss that bloke off. You don't want to kick him out. You want him to come in every now and again because he's fucking good at what he does. So why the hell wouldn't you not? But at the same time, the rest of the shop need to be able to do that job. So you've introduced a digital system that's not broke the bank, and anybody can be taught on that shop floor how to use it. So really, you've solved that problem. Let's be honest. You're not a huge fan of the system. There are better systems out there, but it's done the job. Has it not?
I think that's a fantastic assessment. Yeah, and can you come with me when I put my invoice in? No, I think that's a really good assessment. In that, this place, I think we spoke about it before. It's stuck in 1985. It really is, and some of the processes work, but they only work according to the skill level that's present.
Yeah, it only works if the right person is doing the job.
The introduction of this system will shake things up a little bit. It really will. And I'm sure I will get calls for the next 6 weeks on like, shit, Tony, what happened to this? How do we do this?
Yeah.
But I've got no problem with that because I can take the guy who books the work in on a morning and I can let him make screens. The small fly in the ointment is mesh selection.
All right.
I can let him make screens. I basically take from this cupboard, put in here, press this button, put in here, press this button, wash out.
Yes.
But
so
I can't do mesh selection. Mesh selection. When do I use a 62? When do I use a 55? When do I use a 43?
Is that necessarily important for the screen maker to know? Can that not be solved at the separation stage and labelled? So the screen maker, all he cares about is taking the screen that correlates to whatever mesh he's put on the artwork, on the sep.
In a really short, harsh word, no.
Oh. Shit.
9 times out of 10, the artist, the guy who's making the artwork, does not have a fucking clue about mesh counts.
Yeah, I'm spoiled. I'm thinking of John, you see. I'm spoiled. But not all separators. Yeah, or me. Or yeah. No, that's true.
Most artists, most people who create the separations have never held a badass squeegee and realised that it's a mistake.
Oh, you just keep twisting that knife, Tony. I thought me and you were just starting to get along.
I tell you what, mate, if you subscribe to my new channel, you can get abused for like 20 quid a month, so it's not a problem. Don't worry about it.
You've got a new channel?
No.
Oh, yeah. Right. That joke went over my head a little bit, but... Right, so let me ask you a question now, because I've got a question for you that sort of relates to the auto world. Let me just put this scenario by you. I happen to come across an M&R auto. It's an older press. Don't look like it's been abused. It looks all right. It's in good shape, but it's an older press. It's at quite a cheapish price. Can I buy that press as a, let's call it a project, a doer-upper? Is there any reason that can't sit downstairs in my shop? I can't clean it up, look after it, and then when I find a bigger space, I can make that work for me? Or should I really be thinking, I'm just causing myself some headache, it won't register, it won't line up, there'll be something wrong with it, just spend a bit more when you're ready?
This is a proper dilemma.
Can you buy a project press? I guess is what I'm asking.
I'm so goddamn spoiled with new presses.
I know. This is why I think I thought that when I asked this question. I thought there might be some bias here where you're in your head. No, just get an underground MHM. What's wrong with you?
And so this is my bias. My bias is that I know if you buy a new press, it works out the box. So you forego all that shitty stuff of making it work. However, and I have to sort of like take a long hard look at myself with this. So okay, Tony, so you've only ever bought new presses? No, have I? I've bought old presses. I've made old presses work with what we call the printer's magic elixir, also known to other people as brown tape.
Right, right.
So we can fix anything with brown tape.
Right.
And I have been inside an Adelco multi-jumbo print machine and saved the whole thing with brown tape and epoxy glue. I've been inside an M&R gauntlet and adjusted the shock absorbers so that they don't shock the whole thing and so that it moves and tries to walk out the door.
It was a gauntlet, actually.
I've been inside a Margenshenk and taped on old sensors from another press, from an Alexon, and made that work. So I've not always used new presses, and I have made old presses sing and dance. My first press that I ever worked on, I swear, needed a fucking priest, not a mechanic. It wanted to kill me so bad.
Needed an exorcism.
I had to wire things up and wrap things in tin foil and do all sorts of things to try and make it work. And yes, it can work. The M&Rs of the world, the older ones, not the new ones, are toggle switches, Mac valves, and straightforward logic boards, and can be fixed by almost anything as long as it's AF thread and not metric thread.
A salesman has put it across to me that some of the older M&Rs...
Hi Dave, how are you?
They're more mechanical, so if something was to go wrong, it's something that, if you're a bit of a tinkerer, if you're a bit mechanically minded, you can fix without having to 100%. Call an engineer out. Yeah, so that's a true 100%. Statement. Then.
The issue is...
What is the effect of impressions?
The more mechanical it is, the more it is likely to break.
Oh, right. Okay, I see.
Because it's mechanical.
Yeah, but it's a cheap fix, isn't it?
We'll take a dead straightforward, for instance. In the early days of M&R, the index system was a motor grabbed a bar, pushed, and how did it know when to stop? It hit a shock absorber.
Right.
And then when it hit the shock absorber, it released and came back. And then it grabbed, hit the shock absorber and released and came back. Now, that system is beautifully simple, but so aggressive that after 20,000 hits, the shock absorber starts to go.
Right.
Well, then you put that same system on the head. The head squeegee comes forward.
Yeah.
What stops it? Is it an electronic switch fully controlled by a computer? No. It hits a shock absorber. The shock absorber realizes that when it can't move any further, it cuts the power and it stops and then it releases. Then it bang and it releases.
Right.
So it's a beautifully simple system, but such an abrasive, aggressive system that it's going to break.
Right.
But it's okay if it breaks because we can fix it by nipping out to RS and just buying a new part. So, it's a bit swings and roundabouts. Yeah. It's half and half.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the simplicity. Yes, I love the fact that I can fix it myself. But I don't like the fact that it breaks because I can fix it myself.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know, just a thought, just an option that I was considering.
I suppose it depends. Would you buy an old car that you found in a shed that's
I'm just
never
about to
run
ask you
for
this.
25 years?
Well, I was going to ask you this because, in a way,
Do they call them
impressions.
what do they call them? Barn finds?
Something like that. I never bought one actually. I never bought
It's
never
like
bought a
something
Jeep.
you find in a barn or on a yard.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you see programs, don't you? And, just wandering along and I found this old
Yeah.
MG Metro.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't personally, but I guess impressions is mileage, and you kind of answered my question. What effect does mileage impressions have on an auto press? Because I imagine when you're buying an auto press, if it's on used market, even the top end, you're looking at the number of impressions. I guess it's a factor in your sales in whether you buy it or not. And I guess it's those.
Yeah, that's how much work it's done. Yeah.
Yeah, and on those older machines, it's how much hammering of them shock absorbers had, and I guess for whatever. Yeah, just a thought. And on that, right? Let's just say to you right now, I want to put you on the spot. I want to give you 10 grand, right? You've got the option to go buy an M&R. It's not new. Done some mileage, but it's your only option. You're going to make it work, and are you going to be able to print, the same as what you could print on any other auto?
That's a horrible question. Could I make an old 10 grand M&R sing and dance? Yes. Absolutely, I could. Could I get fantastic prints off it? Yes. Would anybody be able to tell it was a 10 grand M&R? No. At the end of the dryer? Absolutely not. And what's the defining factor that makes that M&R really good? I feel horrible saying this. Me. I know. I honestly feel shit. I felt shitty saying that, but I'm the defining factor because I know how that machine works. I know how to make it sing and dance. I've had shitloads of experience on it, so therefore I can make that machine print stuff that will look better than if you printed it on a brand new 1214 Rock.
All right.
Why? What's the main difference? Me.
Skill of the operator.
Of experience.
Yeah.
Being able to make that sing and dance. Could I give the 10 grand M&R to a guy who's been printing a year and let him make it look good? No.
No.
Yeah, maybe. But he will drive himself to the edge of the world. He will drive himself to just pure distraction. He will want to give in. He will get it, but it will drive him insane. It will make him question his life choices. It'll make him go home to his wife and go, do we really want to print t-shirts for a living? Can we not just go mine Bitcoin somewhere?
But what if that person's already been to that edge multiple times and he's sort of used to it? So what you're saying in short is, go buy it.
Would I buy it? Yeah. Yeah, I'd buy it. I'd buy a 10 grand M&R.
Yeah.
Because I know that I could make it sing and dance. But I would have to work really hard to get a good result.
Yeah.
Am I prepared to work really hard? Yeah. Do I have the skill to work really hard? Yeah.
Is it optimal, and is it better to wait until you can get a better press?
Would I recommend you buy a 10 grand M&R? No. You would hate the machine. You would think that this machine actually made your life worse, harder, and slower than what you were doing on a manual.
Interesting.
Because you don't have the skill to make it sing and dance.
How dare you? No, I agree with you. No, it wasn't a serious proposition. It was a thought. I saw it, I stumbled across it, and it made me think, I wonder. Let's see what Tony thinks.
Well, we have to turn it on its head and go, okay, well, so therefore, Tony thinks that you should always buy a 50 grand machine and work from there.
Well, I'm not. No, that's not an option either.
That, you wouldn't go out and buy a 50 grand car. You'd go out and look for a 10 grand car that you could do up.
Yeah. There's There's a middle ground. I'm going to sit somewhere in between. I'm not going to be paying 10 grand. Probably going to be paying 20, 30 for something that ain't brand spanking off a showroom. But it's not, it's going to be a decent press that's not done
The thing
too
is,
much mileage.
second-hand, sort of like, let's say second-hand or used
Oh, John's going to send me one.
machines. Second-hand MHM machines hold their value around about the 30 grand mark.
The thing with that
to
is,
say they're only like 55 to 60 brand new when they hold the value of 60 grand second-hand used, is testament to how much they are worth to you and how much they can still contribute to you.
you don't see them. You don't see MHMs on used market. I'm sure they pop up, but like it's so rare. And I know that because I've spent past 5 years looking, and like you'll see M&Rs pop up. I've seen the odd rock every now and again. I've seen some really old MHMs, but you don't see X types or whatever. Rarely see them, which I can only assume. This is not me. This is not being an MHM person. I've got no allegiance. I can only assume. For me, logically, that means it's probably for a good reason. They're probably good presses that people don't get rid of.
They keep the value. People will still make good money out of an old press. You have to drop on lucky and get a private sale. I think Sarah got a private sale on a dryer, and if she'd have gone through a dealer, she'd have paid a shitload more money.
You'd have got that Dave Roper tax on that bad boy.
Private sale of a press of somebody who's just like there was a story about an M&R who the owner had got so pissed off because it had injured him or hurt him. He didn't want to go through a dealer. He just wanted to sell it privately. And for me, that would be like, oh, that's a good deal. I'll take it off your hands.
I think that's probably true because through the years, as I've looked for these presses to pop up, you do see what I would consider reasonable prices for these autos privately, and then you go see them on. I won't single out Dave, but you see them on Screen Print World, and you see them on various other websites, even MHM Direct. They have a used section, and every now and again something will pop up, and you think you're paying 10 grand more here, 10 grand more than what I would think to pay. And I guess you do. If you go for a dealer, you're gonna pay a chunk more because we've got to make money. That's sort of the job, isn't it? You know what I mean? But
not only that, but they move it out of the place it's at. They refurb it. And
they do a bit of work, I guess.
So, moving a press is at least $2.5 grand, and then doing it up and cleaning it up. You've got to pay somebody to scrape all the shit off that somebody's left on it.
I guess if you're going private, you've got to be prepared to do the moving, the cleaning, and the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
So I guess it depends where you sit, really. Do you want to do the work yourself or do you want to pay Dave to do it for you? I guess that's the way to look at it.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Are we happy with that conversation? So let's delete that from my eBay listings and move on with my life. Would you like a fun fact about Guatemala?
Would I buy a used M&R?
You've already talked me out of it, Tony. Don't go back on it now. I'm not buying it. No, well, we didn't say that. Let's clarify. We wouldn't buy an old, cheap M&R. There's a pretty high chance I'm buying a used M&R, just not necessarily one that old. Because there's a pretty high chance that's all I find on the market.
Yes, I would buy one, but I need a wee.
I need a wee as well, actually. I've run out of beers. Hey, that's the first episode ever that you've gone for a wee.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Have you ever done live printing?
Have you done what?
Have you ever done live printing?
I sort of want to.
Well, actually, that's a really stupid question. It's sort of your job. You do live printing at exhibitions, I guess, but you know what I mean.
But I had this idea. So I like the idea of live printing, but all I ever see is manual live printing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean.
I want to get a 40-foot truck. A normal size big truck with a curtain sider.
You're taking this. Yeah.
Oh, I would love, right, to get a curtain sider. Pull up the curtain side or pull out the curtain side. Compressor, press, dryer, darkroom. I reckon I can do it in 40-foot by 9 foot. Pull up to a vent and go, right, okay, here is a screen print shop in a truck. Fully automated. Spider, done, finished. And I would love to do that. Little sort of, I reckon an 810 compact S-Type would fit in 3.8 metres. So we could just about get it inside the truck. Get a little panther dry, anything, just done in there, and go, right, okay, what do you want? You want 1,000 shirts an hour? Bring them on.
How to piss all over the chips of hundreds of screen printers. I was just about to say, have you ever done live screen printing with a little tabletop carousel? The reason I ask, I just fucking pissed all over it. You can have them, don't want them now. The only reason I ask is, so it's a strange coincidence, very strange coincidence. I had a chat with my mate from Australia, Sam. And from Ministry of Sound. And
Ministry of T-shirts.
I like Ministry of Sound better. And we were talking about live printing. Right, he's getting into a bit of live printing. And strangely enough, about a week later, I was in Brewdog with my bird. And we were having a burger and some beers. And I tagged him. I tagged him in a story. I just tagged him with a picture of me having a swig of some beer. And they messaged me and said, "Oh, do you want to do something? Do you want to do a pop up at some point?" So I've got Brewdog in my inbox. The local Brewdog. I don't mean the whole thing, but my local Brewdog in Hull. I want to do a bit of a pop up. So I've done live screen printing in the past. I used to have a little 4-colour Riley Hopkins with a little tabletop thing. It was like green and black with like little springs on it. No micro registration or anything like that. And I did a few little small local events. It's very fun. I didn't make any money particularly doing them. I made a few quid or whatever. But that was just me having a go at the beginning stages of an idea. I'm sure there's money that can be made in it. So yeah, it was something that I thought, well, I'm sort of, fate, whatever the word is, sort of putting some sort of opportunity in my hands, and maybe I should give it another go. Cause
I'd love to do it. My issue is low tech. I have to go low tech to do it, and I don't like low tech.
Yeah, you kind of have to
do it. I would want to do it high tech, which is why I would take the 40-foot truck and have the compressor, the machine, the dryer, the whole thing.
Trust you.
So, yes, I would love, and I've often thought, and I had this idea of a road show a long time ago, where we just turn up, drop down the front of the 40-foot truck,
and look at people's antiques and tell them how much they're worth.
What do you want? Let's tell me what you want, and I'll print them.
Bloody no.
Yeah, so I like that idea. I reckon I could get a print shop inside a 40-foot container if I could drop the front down and have that extra 9 foot of out space.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. God, that'd be something else. That'd be great. That's where you're knocking on door like Download Festival, Leeds Festival, and the big festivals, and you're turning up to them. You might only be doing 5 or 6 a year, but the money you're going to make doing it, whoo-hoo! Yeah. The site fees are outrageous. I looked at purely out of curiosity, knowing full well this was going to make me fall off my chair. But I looked at the fees to have a stall at Silverstone on the campsite.
Really?
It were more than 10,000. Put it that way. Right. I can't remember what it was because it was a lot of years ago, but it was more than 10 grand. Whew. So you want to be going here making some money. But you would, wouldn't you?
Go to Imola because they just cancelled Imola.
Have you actually cancelled it now? I know that they're talking about it.
No, I know it's done. Finished. There's no race this weekend. Done? Nope, no race this weekend. It's done.
I'm quite happy to be honest because I could do with a catch-up weekend. I'd normally be sad, but I could do with a Sunday at Stud at Press really. So Would you like to know a fun fact about Guatemala, which I forgot to tell you about an hour ago?
Do you know anything about Guatemala, Danny?
I know a few things about Guatemala. Two actually.
Tell me how many trees there are.
Oh, a lot. It's a very forest-dense country. But that is not the fact I'm going to tell you. Spanish is the official language and is spoken by 90% of the population. However, there are long-standing Mayan, Zinca,
Mayan.
and Garifuna roots too.
Okay.
Since the Mayan civilization was first developed by the Maya, a group of indigenous people of Mesoamerica, the language has evolved into 21 dialects that can be heard today on a true Mayan encounter. It's an awful lot like Yorkshire, really, when you think about it, isn't it? Because we have many dialects. You've got South Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, Cass, Leeds, Wakey, Hull. We must have at least 34 different dialects across Yorkshire, if I had to guesstimate. Fun fact number 2, and this will lead nicely into your final parting story of the episode as we say goodbye to our listeners. Okay. Coffee is Guatemala's biggest export business, like really big. By 1880, coffee accounted for 90% of Guatemala's exports, and even today, it's one of their main exports and sources of income for the country. The coffee apparently has a distinct flavour. I won't know because it's absolutely disgusting. Typically full-bodied and has rich chocolate and cocoa flavours. How interesting. Yeah. Did you happen to visit anything coffee-related on your travels?
While I was there, I do believe I visited a coffee farm.
You didn't, did you? Chuffy. Now it's almost like I knew. Oh, God. Coincidences.
Right, so I am a massive, huge coffee fan. I love coffee.
It's trendy now, though, isn't it?
I'm a massive... I cannot
bit of an
get
hipster.
through life without coffee.
Very hip.
I'm not a hipster. I don't give a fuck where it comes from. I just want strong, warm, black coffee.
Do you do, Kenko, mate?
And where I was with, the guy owns a coffee farm.
Where you was with? Or who?
Who I was with. Owned a coffee farm. So I'm like, okay, do you want to see how coffee's made? I'm like, this is going to be awesome. It's going to smell like Maxwell House.
Right. Like Horlicks.
Well, apparently it didn't. So go to this place, and it's like 600 acres. That's a big bit of land. Growing coffee, growing avocados, growing bananas in this beautiful... if I'm going to die, I want to die there. It just
really
there's no people, which is perfect for me.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
And it was just great. And there's coffee growing. I'm like, okay, stop. What happens? Coffee grows. What does it look like? It's this red berry.
Really?
Red berry.
I would never have guessed.
So a red berry. I'm like, okay, now what? Well, if you
Is it the seed?
red berry. If you squish the red berry, 2 little sort of like half peanuts come out.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what? Okay, well, taste them. I'm like, fuck you. I've fallen for this before. I go to somebody else's house when I put something in my mouth like that. No, it's not. He said, no, trust me. Take a taste of this berry. I'm like, no, absolutely not. No, I don't like you that way. This is not happening. No, taste it. It's fine. So we squished the berry. Put the berry in my mouth. Number 1, it's rock solid. Number 2, it's sweet as sugar.
Is it really?
It's really, 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 really sweet.
How
and
strange.
They call it coffee honey.
Right.
So I'm like, that's really odd. Number 1, it tastes nothing, absolutely nothing like coffee whatsoever. Number 2, it tastes like sugar, honey. See, we call it honey. This is the honey stage. Okay, what do we do now?
Why don't we just make the drink taste like that? It'd be way nicer.
So then they dry this thing out, and then the parchment, the outer shell dries off, and then we get this middle bit, and then we get this middle bit, and we dry it out again. We get this bit, and then we roast it. And it goes through 75 different processes.
Yeah.
But in the very beginning, you pick the coffee off the plant
Yeah.
and you taste it. It tastes nothing like coffee at all.
Sounds better.
Only when it gets roasted does it taste like coffee.
Ah, so it's a roasting process, which does make sense.
It's the roasting thing, and it's like a three-step process. First of all, you take the parchment off, you take the berry off, and you float the good beans and the bad beans, and it's such a complicated process, but so fascinating.
Do you enjoy it?
And
is it ticked off the bucket list?
yeah, I took some home with me. It is the best coffee I've ever tasted in my life.
Wow.
It is exceptional coffee.
Have you heard about the coffee where it is eaten by cats and then shit out and then they turn that into coffee? It's basically cat shit, but it's actually coffee.
Maybe somebody's taking the piss.
I promise you, you'll Google that. I bet you any money, man. Now, it might not be cats. It might be bears or something like that, or goats. I feel like it is cats, though. I'm going to Google it now. I'm going to Google it.
The coffee I tasted had not been shit out by cats. It was lovely.
Cat. I'm the keyboard looking.
I was really impressed. So Guatemala's famous for coffee and rum.
Rum?
And, oh God, yeah.
So you tested some rum as well?
Was just awesome. I had a really, really good time out there with
it
some
looked real
friends.
good. It looked like a travel vlog with Tony. I feel like that's on the cards one day. You'll have to become a travel vlogger. You know when podcast falls on its ass.
Yeah, I'll just be a vlogger. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
right,
it was good.
Good. Shall I show you my inspirational post of the week?
You love the screen share thing, don't you?
Got to do it at least once every episode. And I did say it'd be a feature. So I'm going to share this one. So this is Success Print Shop in America somewhere. Jonathan, spoke to him before, he's a real nice bloke. But the interesting thing about Jonathan, and I'll be honest, it's not particularly this picture, but just Jonathan's story as a whole. His print shop started off as one shipping container, and then he's just expanded it over time. How cool is that? That's awesome, isn't it?
Good. Love it.
It inspired me and made me think, well, we talked about getting an auto, sticking it downstairs, doing it up until I can get a bigger space. At some point, I'd like to stop paying somebody else's mortgage. So maybe thinking outside the box a little bit is an interesting direction to consider, at the very least.
Most of the people that I know that are successful proper gambled in the beginning.
Is it an educated risk, though? Is it gambling or is it educated risks?
I think it's a belief. It's a pure-hearted belief in that what you are doing will work.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Flipping Sweet will be successful? And if you do, put a number on it. Okay. Yeah, I believe Flipping Sweet will be successful. Super, great. Would you put 50 grand on it? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Right, okay. Would you stick 100 grand on it? What? So would you be willing to lose 100 grand if Flipping Sweet wasn't successful? Maybe. Don't know. Am I that good? Maybe. I'm not sure. If things were lined up and everything was okay. Okay. Will you stick 150 grand down and be prepared to lose the whole fucking thing if Flipping Sweet wasn't successful? And I think it's down to that. It's how much are you willing to put out on a limb, gamble, lose? How much are you prepared to back what you believe in?
Back yourself. Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
It's hard. As English people, we're
it's not hardwired.
Not to do that. As American people, the Americans are taught to 100% believe in yourself. Do it. Do 150. Yeah. Fuck that. Do 650. Do 750. Do $1 million.
I think culturally there is a mindset difference between us and them.
Huge. It's massive.
I have to fight with myself to believe stuff like that.
we're built to dial it back, dial it back, dial it back, dial it back.
And
Whereas
do you know
Americans are built to dial it up, dial it up, dial it up, dial it up.
I wonder if it stems from childhood as well. Because and I'm sure, and I'm not pity partying myself or anything. I'm sure children, maybe it's a cultural thing of the UK, are constantly told what you cannot do. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do this. You start to it'd be hard. It's hardwired, isn't it? Even as a child. In America, are you encouraged to just go out? Oh, you've hurt. You come back and broke your leg. Well, you won't do it next time, will you? You know what I mean? Maybe there's
no limit, no upper limit at all.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll leave it on that. I enjoyed this episode. We've done a chunky 2 hours. We've got away with it somehow, even though connection's been a right little pain in the ass.
We did promise a bumper episode, didn't we? Because we missed last week. We missed a couple, but we have. What are we in? We're in June. So next week we're okay. Week after Germany. After Germany we're in Canada. After Canada we're in America.
You should expect the connections to be okay. You should expect them to be okay. Ironically, the worst connection we've had in a while is here, UK. So how does that work?
Okay, shit, yeah.
Don't stay in Premier Inn's. Got shite internet.
Are we done?
If you like.
If you like.
Yeah, let's sign it out.
Danny, did I ask you anything?
I don't know. Yeah, I've been busy. Yeah, we did. You talked about what I've been up to at the start.
I think I've overtook that episode. Sorry.
You haven't. Don't be daft, Tony.
But
you're all right.
We will be back next week, and
oh, I've got a question. This meant to come up. Meant to come up halfway through the episode. For some reason, it's come back to me.
Halfway.
Maybe I'll edit this back in. I would like to know what the consensus is on the price of a T-shirt now. So the perceived value of a T-shirt, because you said, which was interesting, because when I started bootlegging T-shirts, I used to sell them for a range of £12.50 to £15. But that was 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit less. What is the perceived value of a T-shirt now on an average? Are we selling them for 20 quid, 25 quid, 30 quid, maybe even 35 quid? On average, we're not talking about the most premium T-shirt, we're just averaging it out. Please comment below as a little bit of market research, and you can do this in a localised, if it's, you can tell me $25, that's okay, I'll suss it out. But I'm just curious, because sometimes it's useful to know these.
Value of it. So if I gave you a free T-shirt, what would you perceive the value of that free T-shirt as? Is it a $5, $10, $15, $25?
Or in other words,
worth is?
Or in other words, what is the average price? What is the average selling point of a typical printed T-shirt? Retail?
No. I don't think selling point is right. No, I think as a consumer, as someone who gets a T-shirt, what do you think the value of that T-shirt is? So, okay, if I gave you a Red Bull T-shirt,
yeah,
which by the way I never ever wear, but other than that, if I gave you a Red Bull T-shirt,
just wear a Lewis Hamilton blouse. That's probably all he sells nowadays.
With some matching colognes. What would you say? What would you say the value of that Red Bull T-shirt was?
All right, we'll go with that one.
I think that's a good. So if I said to you, Danny, I've got a Red Bull T-shirt, I'm going to give you it. What do you think I've given you in value? So I've got a number in my head, and I think that number, I think it's 25 quid.
Do you know what? That was the exact number in my head. So maybe we're on the same wavelength.
Which would be in American $35.
Yeah.
So no, $30 to $32. So a $30 T-shirt printed with your hero. Sorry, stuck in my throat a little bit. Your hero printed with a Red Bull T-shirt, and I gave you it for free. What value would you think you would give on that? I think 25 quid.
Yeah. Put it this way. If I was, and this is kind of why I'm asking, if I was to if a customer came to me and asked for a quote, and I was to break down what I believe their profit value is, I would say this t-shirt's going to cost you this much per t-shirt, and I think you can sell them for 25 quid. You know, this is what I'm kind of guessing. This is what I'm trying to get in, and it'd be nice to have a consensus of what that average t-shirt price is that you could maybe pass on to your customers and say, well, you know, it's going to cost you this much, but look how much profit you've got. If you sell it at the average price, you might not. You might sell it as a premium, you know. But just a,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Just curiosity, a little bit of loose market research.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm happy with that. Let us say goodbye. All the best. Okay. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you want a beer mat or a sticker,
show me the sticker.
Tony's really proud of these. Tony ordered these, bless him. These are great.
Look at those shinies.
Love a shiny.
They're shinies. They're like you'd collect on Pokemon. They're shinies.
I'm going to say these have got to be worth at least 100
quid
each. 100 quid each?
Maybe? Turn around.
We go.
Look
it right
at
way.
that.
You what? So all you have to do to get one of these is to flood us with engagement on all of our Instagrams and YouTube channels, etc.
You're such a tart.
And then message me and I'll send you some for free. Just tell me your address, whatever.
Right, so, again, and we've come to the end of the episode. We've had a couple of beers, which has been superb. It's always better when we have a beer in it.
Takes edge off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes edge off. And so, all that remains is for us to thank you for listening, tuning in, and join. By the way, last week, awesome episode.
Yeah, it did well, didn't it?
I know we dragged Mr. Potter in, which is always
kicking and streaming.
It's always a gamble. You never
Very
know
reluctant.
what are you going to get with John? But we got the best results we got, and we threw out the exclusive episode of the laser, which will be which will be premiered at Vespa.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're off to Germany, you can see it.
Yeah,
and
if
you're
will
off
be
to Italy
next week anyway, but not at Vespa. Bit of FOMO, but after that we'll be at ITMA, and if you're willing to join in, then join us in Milano. But in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and just keep telling everybody that this is the best, the only podcast around about screen printing.
Hosted by two Yorkshire blokes.
Which you might need subtitles for, but you'll get there eventually.
The best podcast based in Yorkshire about screen printing t-shirts. I reckon we can have that award.
Right,
we'll have that one.
Yeah.
We can have that one.
Yeah, that's definitely us as our category.
Yeah.
So all that remains to be said is thank you very much for listening. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the comment, and maybe Danny will tell me that if there is a comment.
I'll try and pass it on. I answer. I try to answer, but sometimes there are questions that they're techie and they're clearly aimed at Tony, so I'll pass that on for Tony.
But in the meantime, thank you very much for listening. I'll see thee.
I'll see thee. Bye.
Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.